Morgan Gray, senior producer at Capcom. To sort of sum up Dark Void for everybody, from a fictional standpoint, you play as Will, a down-on-his-luck cargo pilot that kind of makes a detour through the Bermuda Triangle, ends up in an alien dimension called the Void. Now in the Void, there's a group of aliens known as the Watchers that have been subjugating humanity forever. And Will's first thing is to get out of Dodge and get home. Ultimately, he gets somewhat of a bigger quest, try to get everyone home. From a gameplay standpoint, Dark Void is a mixture of on-foot ground combat, cover-based, in-air jetpack dogfighting action, and something unique to the genre called vertical combat, which is sort of like taking ground-based combat, flipping it on its head. You're doing ascents and descents, 360 degrees of mayhem, and then we take all those spices and we put them together seamlessly so they interact all at the same time in the same place. When players enter into the vertical combat, their first entry in there is going to be pretty sedate in terms of how it goes. Pretty much going up straight, enemies come from one direction. As you get in the more complicated setups, we do things like cut items to help the players. Gravity, we have wherever the particles fall, or the bodies, as the case may be, gives you a sense of what's up and what's down. But at a certain point, when you're playing, up and down kind of become irrelevant. It's sort of, where are the targets at? How do I kill them? Where am I going? And so that's when it really becomes fun, because then you just feel like you're kind of a god. It's like direction means nothing, physics don't matter. That's when I think it really shines. Dark Void doesn't do air missions and ground missions per se. What we do is allow the player to at any point take to the skies, to use their jetpack to sort of circumvent an obstacle, to get behind enemies. Certain setups or scenarios behoove you to do certain things, as it were, but we try to support more player tactical choice. I would say roughly, though, if we had to put it in, it's close, 50-50. I mean, you got a jetpack on your back, so you're definitely going to be flying around and taking guys out, but we do want the visceral in-your-face combat as well. So our ground combat is very familiar to anyone who's played like Gears of War, or Rainbow Six. It's, a button will stick you in a cover, you can move in and out, focus more on the combat. And so what we're trying to do is, not have to teach the player too many brand new things. What we want to teach them is, here's how you can put all this stuff together in a unique new way. So if you've played Gears, you'll find our ground combat to be very familiar. If you played Crimson Skies, you'll certainly find dogfighting to be very familiar. What's going to be unique for you is to figure out how these two now coexist simultaneously. There's few games, if any, that are sort of attempting to do what we're doing in the single player space. It gets pretty fun. But you'll notice when people pick up Dark Void, depending on their gaming history, it's they get right to work depending on where they're rolling. One of the things, when you think about doing a game for Western audiences with Western developers, but being Capcom, obviously not a Western 100% developer, is what aspects of the Capcom game aesthetic or the Japanese game aesthetic did we want to embrace? And one of the ones we felt strongly about was a strong character that is more than just an avatar for you to experience the world, it's someone for you to experience the world with. And so we basically put a lot of effort into trying to establish that as a goal. Fortunately for us, we were able to get a lot of great feedback on that very thing from Inafune-san, who's known for being smart about pretty much anything related to games, to really help us sort of up that experiential entity. I mean, people will always do comparisons on East versus West. I think there's merit on both schools of thought and both aesthetics, but certainly I think when it comes to characters that pop, characters that you get within like 5 minutes, Japanese games are really good at that, and so it's nice to have that experience to feed back into what we're doing. We went with Unreal quite literally because it was of the options out there, we felt the strongest for what we wanted to do. It allowed us to hit the ground running. Everyone will always focus on the rendering or the graphics. One of the big pluses with Unreal is their development tools, their environments, how you create your title. Huge boons there, and obviously wanting to be multi-platform of 360 PC and PS3 is pretty much the best solution. And working with the engine and working with Epic has been pretty great. Like, we couldn't do what we're doing right now were it not for them. So it was a smart decision, and we reap the rewards from it every day. That being said, there's not many games on Unreal Tech like Dark Void, so that was a great leg up, and it's certainly a good it's a good buddy. But we had to do a lot of heavy lifting on original code to sort of realize the game. So I'm a big fan of the Unreal Tech, and certainly the Epic guys have been great supporters. in the realm of looking at how what we could do with multiplayer for Dark Void, we quickly realized that it was going to be a tough learning lesson to figure out how to combine all these gameplay types. We quite quickly realized all our old tricks wouldn't work anymore. We had to come up with new game design tricks. And we basically had to make the call, like, do we try to double down and make a quality experience? It's a new IP, doing a lot of new things that no one's done before, and certainly combining things in a way no one's combined them, and really just make that a focus, or do we try to do that and multiplayer and put the whole thing at risk? And it was a tough choice, but we've said, if we make a good, compelling game that people then say, God, this would be great if it had multiplayer, that's because we made them a game they like so much, they want to have it in that place. So hopefully we do that. People like what they see, and if we're going to revisit the Void at some point, multiplayer would be a great thing to discuss. I mean, who wouldn't want to fly around with jetpacks killing your friends? Dark Void coming out on 360, PS3, and PC, and I'm supposed to say soon. Thanks very much.